Allahu, 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 Allah.
Welcome to Tafsir time with Abdurrahman and Abdullah.
So now today, as you know, Abdullah has mentioned that we will be doing Surah Al-Mutaffifin. Inshallah, I'll recite it first and then I will go on to the tafsir. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ويل للمطففين الذين إذا اكتالوا على الناس يستوفون وإذا كالوهم أو وزنوهم يخسرون ألا يظن أولئك أنهم مبعوثون ليوم عظيم يوم يقوم الناس لرب العالمين كلا إن كتاب الفجار لفي سجين وما أدراك ما سجين كتاب مرقوم ويل يومئذ للمكذبين الذين يكذبون بيوم الدين وما يكذب به إلا كل معتد نثيم إذا تتلى عليه آياتنا قال أساطير الأولين كلا بل ران على قلوبهم ما كانوا يكسبون كلا إنهم عن ربهم يومئذ لمحجوبون ثم إنهم لصال الجحيم ثم يقال هذا الذي كنتم به تكذبون كلا إن كتاب الأبرار لفي عليين وما أدراك ما عليون كتاب مرقوم يشهده المقربون إن الأبرار لفي نعيم على الأرائك ينظرون تعرف في وجوههم نضرة النعيم يسقون من رحيق مختوم ختامه مسك وفي ذلك فليتنافس المتنافسون ومزاجه من تسنيم عينا يشرب بها المقربون إن الذين أجرموا كانوا من الذين آمنوا يضحكون وإذا مروا بهم يتغامزون وإذا انقلبوا إلى أهلهم انقلبوا فكهين وإذا رأوهم قالوا إن هؤلاء لضالون وما أرسلوا عليهم حافظين فاليوم الذين آمنوا من الكفار يضحكون على الأرائك ينظرون هل ثوب الكفار ما كانوا يفعلون. So inshallah today I will be going on and doing Surah Al-Mutaffifin. And this surah has many details which I want to cover. So inshallah, let us get started. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi zidni 'ilma, Rabbi zidni 'ilma, Rabbi zidni 'ilma. Amin ya rabbil alamin. Today we will start with the first few ayahs of Mutaffifin. So we will start with those who deal with fraud. ويل للمطففين الذين إذا اكتالوا على الناس يستوفون وإذا كانوهم أو وزنوهم يخسرون ألا يظن أولئك أنهم مبعوثون ليوم عظيم يوم يقوم الناس لرب العالمين. So ayah number 1 starts off with a warning towards those, mainly majority of the kafirin. These people would give less in measure and weigh. So what does this mean? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does this in many surahs. He swears by things, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does this rarely, that he does not swear, he curses when he begins the surah. So this is one of the surahs that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala starts with a curse. He says wail. So imagine Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is starting a surah saying curse. So when a person says curse, they might say it out of random. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says it, there's a specific reason and there's something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to address us. So this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is trying to address us. He's trying to tell us about Al-Mutaffifin. So these are very stingy people, and these type of people, whenever they would pay someone for something, they would take a few of their money back and then they would quickly take the good. Or when they're selling something, they would take more of the asked price. So an example is, if you go to the grocery store and you want to buy some peanuts, it would cost about $5-6. When you go to the cashier will immediately just say, oh yes, it's $8 to $10. So this is al-mutaffifin when they're increasing the price, even though when there's like a stated price. So we should be warned that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is already cursing a person that is being al-mutaffifin. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, الذين إذا اكتالوا على الناس يستوفون. Those who and when they give and receive measure from men or people, they demand the full measure. So this is exactly what I have just mentioned, that if they're trying to sell something, they will not lower the price. Instead, they would increase it or ask for the exact same price. But majority of the time, the mutaffifin, they would be increasing the price slightly. But when they increase it, it becomes a habit, and then it becomes a really bad habit, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually curses. Then he says, وَإِذَا كَالُوهُمْ أَوْ وَزَنُوهُمْ يُخْسِرُونَ. And when they have to give, meaning when they are trying to buy something, they have to give it by full measure. They will give it by full measure or less. So this ayah is these two ayahs 2 and 3, are trying to tell us of the characteristics of them, that when they're trying to buy something, they will ask for the exact price or lower and get it at a discounted price. And whenever they're trying to sell something, they would sell it the exact same price or more, or a higher price. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in ayah 4, he says, أَلَا يَظُنُّ أُولَٰئِكَ أَنَّهُمْ مَبْعُوثُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala threatens these people. He's asking them a question saying, do they not think that they will be resurrected for reckoning? So what this ayah is saying, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again is threatening those who are the al-mutaffifin, that because they're doing this, do they not think that they will be brought up from the ground on the day of judgment? And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues in ayah 5, لِيَوْمٍ عَظِيمٍ يَوْمَ يَقُومُ النَّاسُ لِرَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. On the day when all of mankind will stand before their Lord, al-alamin, the mankind, jinn, and all that exists. So ayah 5 says, ayah 5 is just saying a 2-worded ayah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Yawmin Azim, on a great day. So he's continuing his question. So ayahs 4 and 5 go closer related to each other. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَلَا يَظُنُّ أُولَٰئِكَ أَنَّهُمْ مَبْعُوثُونَ لِيَوْمٍ عَظِيمٍ. Do they not think they will be resurrected on a great day? So when you combine these two ayahs, it is more likely to combine these two ayahs. Then it says, يَوْمَ يَقُومُ النَّاسُ لِرَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. On a day where everyone will be standing barefooted and where everyone won't have any help, and they will stand before their Lord in front of also al-alamin. Al-alamin over here is everything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created. Mankind, jinn, angels, and everything that exists. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows more. Then ayahs 7 through 14. كلا إن كتاب الفجار لفي سجين وما أدراك ما سجين كتاب مرقوم. I will stop here because this is actually one category. So كلا إن كتاب الفجار لفي سجين. So the translation says, but truly the record of the writing the deeds of the fujar, the disbelievers, will be in al-'illiyun. Al-'illiyun, السجين. كلا إن كتاب الأبرار كلا إن كتاب الفجار لفي سجين. As-sijin is like a certain book where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will write all the deeds of the disbelievers, all the polytheists, all the evildoers, all the sinners. So this is going to be for the fujar, the disbelievers. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that the fujar, the people, the fujari people, they will be having all their deeds written in al-sijin. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because none of us knew it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, he's sharing his knowledge. He's saying, وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا سِجِّينَ. And what will make you know what is sijin? What will make you know, what will give you even the slightest clue of what it is? So, kitabun marqum. Kitabun marqum means in a written record, in a registering inscribed. So what this means, because a sijin really in this case is just a book that no one can touch. Like the picture, it says it's sealed. We cannot touch, we cannot see a sijin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has secured it from us. No one can change it, and it has been sealed, and it's safe to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala goes on. He says, وَيْلٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ لِلْمُكَذِّبِينَ الَّذِينَ يُكَذِّبُونَ بِيَوْمِ الدِّينِ وَمَا يُكَذِّبُ بِهِ إِلَّا كُلُّ مُعْتَدٍ أَثِيمٍ. So this ayah, وَيْلٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ لِلْمُكَذِّبِينَ, this is an ayah mentioned also in Surah Mursalat, which is mentioned several times. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions it also in Surah Al-Mutaffifin. So what does this mean? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, curse, woe to those, curse be upon those who deny the day. So this ayah number 10, it is talking about those who disbelieved in the existence of the day of judgment. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is cursing two people in this surah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is cursing those who deal with fraud and those who deny the existence of the day of judgment. And then he says in ayah 11, الَّذِينَ يُكَذِّبُونَ بِيَوْمِ الدِّينِ, those who deny the day of recompense. So this is just adding on to the statement. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is cursing and he's adding on to the curse. He's saying, and those who deny the day of judgment. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions it in different names. So he says, وَيْلٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ لِلْمُكَذِّبِينَ الَّذِينَ يُكَذِّبُونَ بِيَوْمِ الدِّينِ, on those who do not believe in the day of recompense. And then ayah 12 says, وَمَا يُكَذِّبُ بِهِ إِلَّا كُلُّ مُعْتَدٍ أَثِيمٍ. And no one can deny it. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues, he says, إِلَّا كُلُّ مُعْتَدٍ أَثِيمٍ, except every transgressor who has went past the boundaries. So this is just showing of those deniers who did not believe in the day of judgment. And this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is doing to them. He is cursing them right now in Surah Al-Mutaffifin. So he says, وَمَا يُكَذِّبُ بِهِ إِلَّا كُلُّ مُعْتَدٍ أَثِيمٍ. He mentions that everyone would believe in it except these specific category of people. They would, because these transgressors have crossed the limits. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِذَا تُتْلَى عَلَيْهِ آيَاتُنَا قَالَ أَسَاطِيرُ الْأَوَّلِينَ كَلَّا بَلْ رَانَ عَلَى قُلُوبِهِمْ مَا كَانُوا يَكْسِبُونَ. And when our verses of the Quran were recited to them, and they would say that these are stories of the past, these are tales of the ancient. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying here, He's talking to the kuffar right now. He's saying to them that when they were listening to the verses that the Prophet ﷺ was narrating towards them, they would just cover their ears and run away from them. Not only that, but they would continue, and then they would say to others that this is false and they're teaching bad things. So they would not just keep it to themselves, they would just spread their hated ideas everywhere. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, كَلَّا بَلْ رَانَ عَلَى قُلُوبِهِمْ مَا كَانُوا يَكْسِبُونَ. But on their hearts is ran, which they used to earn. So what is ran? Rana ala qulubihim. So this is like the covering. So this is how these people got it. They have been making so many sins over and over, and they've been spreading so much hatred that their hearts been stained with evil. So this picture right here is with the broken heart and the bandages. This is just showing like a picture of that and the evilness that they have committed. So they have committed so much evil that their heart is covered with this, and whatever they hear that is true, they can't accept it because their heart is not willing to. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says next, كَلَّا إِنَّهُمْ عَنْ رَبِّهِمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ لَمَحْجُوبُونَ ثُمَّ إِنَّهُمْ لَصَالُو الْجَحِيمِ ثُمَّ يُقَالُ هَذَا الَّذِي كُنْتُمْ بِهِ تُكَذِّبُونَ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the punishment. He finally talks about the punishment to those of these categories, of all of these fujars. He says, surely the evildoers will not be able to see their Lord on that day. So imagine that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hates them to such a point. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hates them to such a point that He does not want to see them. And they would be moved all the way to the back, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would not be able to see them. ثُمَّ إِنَّهُمْ لَصَالُو الْجَحِيمِ. And they would surely enter hell, and seeing and tasting the burning flames of the hellfire. So this is not any type. When the people of Jannah are entering into Jannah, they will be walking slowly and happily. But these people of Jahannam, they would be rushing into Jahannam, and they would be thrown into Jahannam because they have no control over themselves, because this is the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put it into them. ثُمَّ يُقَالُ هَذَا الَّذِي كُنْتُمْ بِهِ تُكَذِّبُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying a remark back to them. He's saying, yes, this is what you used to deny. This is the day that you used to deny. This is the place that you used to deny. So this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning. And then He says in ayah 18, كَلَّا إِنَّ كِتَابَ الْأَبْرَارِ لَفِي عِلِّيِّينَ وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا عِلِّيُّونَ كِتَابٌ مَرْقُومٌ. So this is the same thing like كَلَّا إِنَّ كِتَابَ الْفُجَّارِ لَفِي سِجِّينٍ وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا سِجِّينٌ كِتَابٌ مَرْقُومٌ. So this is almost the same ideas. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, كَلَّا إِنَّ كِتَابَ الْأَبْرَارِ لَفِي عِلِّيِّينَ. So indeed, those who had believed, those who are al-abrar, they will be written in the al-aliyin. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala goes on to say, وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا عِلِّيُّونَ. And what will give you the slightest hint, what will give you the slightest clue of what is the al-aliyin? And then he goes on to say that this is a written record. So we know that as-sijin and aliyin are both actually written records, but the only difference is as-sijin are for the disbelievers and al-aliyin are for the believers. Then he goes on to mention the characteristics of those believers on the day of judgment. He says, يَشْهَدُهُ الْمُقَرَّبُونَ. Then he says, to which who bear witness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will keep them close to them, like the angels and like the prophets. إِنَّ الْأَبْرَارَ لَفِي نَعِيمٍ عَلَى الْأَرَائِكِ يَنظُرُونَ. Verily, al-abrar will be in delight. So what does this mean? Al-abrar are the people, are the believers, and they would be very happy. عَلَى الْأَرَائِكِ يَنظُرُونَ. And they would be on their high thrones looking and observing everything. تَعْرِفُ فِي وُجُوهِهِمْ نَضْرَةَ النَّعِيمِ. And you would recognize them by their bright faces that would show on their face. يسقون من رحيق مختوم ختامه مسك وفي ذلك فليتنافس المتنافسون. They will be given a drink of wine that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala pressed himself, and it would be sealed. And khitamuhu misk, and the last sip of it would taste like the smell of musk. And this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَفِي ذَلِكَ فَلْيَتَنَافَسِ الْمُتَنَافِسُونَ. And this is what everyone tries to strive for. Let those who strive for this. وَمِزَاجُهُ مِنْ تَسْنِيمٍ عَيْنًا يَشْرَبُ بِهَا الْمُقَرَّبُونَ. And it would be a mixture of a tasneem and a spring that they will be drinking from, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed them to. So this mixture, some scholars have said that it is some type of nectar, and a tasneem is the spring in Jannah, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will mix this mixture and tasneem together. And then he goes on to those who committed the crimes, those who were causing mischief around the world, saying, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ أَجْرَمُوا كَانُوا مِنَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا يَضْحَكُونَ وَإِذَا مَرُّوا بِهِمْ يَتَغَامَزُونَ وَإِذَا انقَلَبُوا إِلَى أَهْلِهِمْ انقَلَبُوا فَكِهِينَ. Verily, during this life, during this earth life that we have, those who committed the crimes used to laugh at those who believe. And they, when they passed by, they would elbow each other. They would wink at each other, pointing to them and laughing to them. وَإِذَا انقَلَبُوا إِلَى أَهْلِهِمْ انقَلَبُوا فَكِهِينَ. And when they would return back to their tribe, when they would return back to their people, they would think they had done something humongous, and they would be very happy. وَإِذَا رَأَوْهُمْ قَالُوا إِنَّ هَؤُلَاءِ لَضَالُّونَ. And they will go to a point and then say to them, that these people are the ones who have gone astray. So they're just saying that our religion is right, and these people are going are not doing the right religion and doing the right stuff. Even though when they see them walking, they would walk politely. They would not run. They would walk politely, and they would spread peace around everywhere. وَمَا أُرْسِلُوا عَلَيْهِمْ حَافِظِينَ. But the disbelievers had not sent as a watcher. So these disbelievers would just keep on watching these believers. فَالْيَوْمَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنَ الْكُفَّارِ يَضْحَكُونَ. But this day of resurrection, those who believe will laugh at the believers. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has flipped the tables. Instead, in this world, the believers were being laughed at, but in the next life, where it's almost going to last for an eternity, the disbelievers will be laughed at. And then they would be saying, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, عَلَى الْأَرَائِكِ يَنظُرُونَ. So they would be on their high thrones with a light face. The believers, I'm talking about the believers. So عَلَى الْأَرَائِكِ يَنظُرُونَ. They would be on their thrones, high, looking at everything, and they would be laughing back at them and saying, this is why we were being so polite. This is why we were living a religious life. هَلْ ثُوِبَ الْكُفَّارُ مَا كَانُوا يَفْعَلُونَ. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks the believers a question while the disbelievers are walking into Jahannam. He says to them, and the disbelievers, have they been paid? Have they been paid for what they have done to you? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala leaves in this ayah like this. He ends the surah with a question. He says, have the disbelievers paid you back? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ends it as a question, and he just says, has the disbelievers paid you back? So inshallah, this was the end of Surah Al-Mutaffifin. So inshallah, I will be releasing the poll. Okay, so inshallah, now that I have finished the tafsir, you guys can answer these questions. And Abdullah, by the time Abdullah finishes Surah Mutaffifin, we would end the poll and start doing the questions. Abdullah, can you recite Surah Mutaffifin?
Naam, Abdurrahman. Jazakallah khair for giving this beautiful speech on Surah Al-Mutaffifin. I hope, inshallah, everybody benefited from this beautiful speech on Mutaffifin. And we learned some very valuable lessons from this surah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be treating the disbelievers on the Day of Judgment. Now, inshallah, I'll be reciting Surah Al-Mutaffifin. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ويل للمطففين الذين إذا اكتالوا على الناس يستوفون وإذا كالوهم أو وزنوهم يخسرون ألا يظن أولئك أنهم مبعوثون ليوم عظيم يوم يقوم الناس لرب العالمين كلا إن كتاب الفجار لفي سجين وما أدراك ما سجين كتاب مرقوم ويل يومئذ للمكذبين الذين يكذبون بيوم الدين وما يكذب به إلا كل معتد أثيم إذا تتلى عليه آياتنا قال أساطير الأولين كلا بل ران على قلوبهم ما كانوا يكسبون كلا إنهم عن ربهم يومئذ لمحجوبون ثم إنهم لصالوا الجحيم ثم يقال هذا الذي كنتم به تكذبون كلا إن كتاب الأبرار لفي عليين وما أدراك ما عليون كتاب مرقوم يشهده المقربون إن الأبرار لفي نعيم على الأرائك ينظرون تعرف في وجوههم نضرة النعيم يسقون من رحيق مختوم ختامه مسك وفي ذلك فليتنافس المتنافسون ومزاجه من تسنيم عينا يشرب بها المقربون إن الذين أجرموا كانوا من الذين آمنوا يضحكون وإذا مروا بهم يتغامزون وإذا انقلبوا إلى أهلهم انقلبوا فكهين وإذا رأوهم قالوا إن هؤلاء لضالون وما أرسلوا عليهم حافظين فاليوم الذين آمنوا من الكفار يضحكون على الأرائك ينظرون هل ثوب الكفار ما كانوا يفعلون. So inshallah, Abdurrahman will now inshallah be discussing the poll's answers now inshallah.
Jazakallah khairan, Abdullah, for doing a wonderful recitation of Surah Al-Mutaffifin. Now, those who have not answered, there are 6 people who did not answer. I'll leave the polls open and you can still answer along. Okay, question number 1 says, what does Mutaffifin mean? Answer choice 1 is the debt collectors, the cheaters slash money, the defrauders, and the most knowledgeable person. So the answer choice here that is correct are the defrauders. I was saying that these people are the frauds, and it is not the cheaters because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not mention them as cheaters. He mentioned them as something worse, actually. And then the debt collectors is not really an option choice. I did not mention that any times during the Mutaffifin lecture. Then question 2 says, who are the 2 people Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cursed in this surah? So I mentioned this specifically. So the kafirin and the debt collectors, the people who deny the day of judgment and the kafirin, the people who deny Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's existence and the people who deny being a witness, the defrauders, and those who disbelieve in the day of recompense. So let's go with choice of elimination. So answer choice A is wrong because I did not say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cursed the kafirin in this surah. He probably did it in different surahs. So it's not the first answer choice. The people who deny the day of judgment, that is right. But the next part is not right, kafirin. So it is not this answer choice either. The people who deny Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's existence and the people who deny being a witness. And none of these are actually the answer choice. So that's why that one is wrong. Then the last answer choice is going to be the answers, the defrauders, and those who disbelieve in the day of recompense. Question 3 says, who or what is al-'Aliyyin? Those who believe in Allah, those who ignore Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the written record for those who believe, and the written record for those who disbelieve. Oh, I put believe twice. Okay. So the correct answer choice over here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Mutaffifin, he says that As-Sijjin is actually the book for those who disbelieve. So if you chose any of the last 2 answer choices, it is correct. Question number 4, why do the disbelievers disbelieve in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala according to the surah? Read them carefully. I'll not read all the answer choices, there are a lot. So I'm going to read the ones that everyone has answered. Because it is locked, because their hearts are stained with evil, because they believe in idols. So it is not because they believe in idols. I did not say it was because of that reason. And because it is locked, it is mentioned in a different surah, but it's not in this surah. Because their hearts are stained with evil. This is the right reason. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that they done so much evil in their life that it had become stained, and therefore it's been covered all in evil. So inshallah, these are going to be the answers for the poll questions. Jazakallahu khairan everyone for answering them today. So inshallah, Abdullah will go on with the concluding dua, and you can see the poll results.
Jazakallah khair Abdurrahman for discussing the answers to the poll. So inshallah, please remember to join next week, Wednesday, inshallah, at the exact same time, for inshallah, Surah Al-Infitar by me, and inshallah, Abdurrahman, on the next 99 names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Al-Qahhar. Now, inshallah, I will be saying the concluding dua. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك ونتوب إليك أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله الله الله